Ready, go. Sunday night, May 21, 2023. Dan Grider, Probable Cause. Glad to have you with us tonight on this yet another Sunday evening video. It's been just 7 days since we did the last one, since I sat in that seat. And you know, in the last 7 days, we've lost 5 more general aviation airplanes to fatal accidents. A total of 11 for the month. Here's the crib sheet on that. Here's our total 11 for the month. 5 of them in the last 7 days. We're going to get to all of those here in just a minute. Before we do that, we're going to take a quick sponsor break and talk about Dylan Grider, my son. He is also wanting to be a pilot. Ironically, he's a grider. He wants to be a pilot. So we got him in a Cherokee 140. We're getting that thing ready to go, and we're going to put a graphics package on it. Dylan is aspiring to be a pilot. I want you to help him out by joining his YouTube channel called Pilot Project Dylan Grider. He's got his very first video up and on the air. You can become a subscriber to that in the early. You talk about itty-bitty fledgling YouTube channel. This is an tiny little itty-bitty fledgling YouTube channel number 2. So he's going to video the good, the bad, the ugly. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but he's going to capture some of those. Dylan's the kind of guy that's not afraid to tell you when he screws up, and he's going to show you what he did on video. I think it'll make an interesting project. We did get to test fly Dylan's airplane yesterday. Here's a quick video from Perez, the mechanic. Perez is probably one of the best mechanics I have ever met in my life. We're thrilled to be best friends with Kent and Perez, who have really hooked us up on stuff here. Let's take a look at this test flight from yesterday. This is a little bit of footage from Dylan and Perez yesterday after Perez flew the airplane yesterday and made a quick lap and showed us what the airplane's going to do. Here's that footage from yesterday.
So Dylan here says he can outfly me, so he found himself an airplane. And so I had to go through it, and I had to put some vacuum pumps, and I had to fix some metal stuff and pull out these things called spark plugs, and I checked compressions and everything was good, and changed the oil. I got dirty, but he didn't. He watched me get dirty.
He did all the work. Yeah, he's got to do all the work so that I can prove that I can fly better.
But you know, he's a good supervisor.
Right.
Yeah. So did it fly?
Yeah, well, I was a test pilot today with someone else to my helper, so we did good. The airplane was a little wobbly at first. The clouds kept pushing us around. I think I saw a turtle on the runway.
Do you think that Dylan will be able to fly this airplane by himself?
Absolutely.
Never.
Anybody could, but especially him.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to put a graphics package from Aerographics from Colorado. They donated a complete design and install, which is going on this airplane immediately.
Next week.
Next week, we'll put that on there.
Yeah, you've done enough. We'll let it slide this time.
So it's base coat white, and our thanks to Aerographics. James, my buddy out there, hooked us up, and he's getting a nice. Dylan designed it, and it should be good. Don't you think that'll be cool?
It'll be great. Yeah.
You need to call Chris.
Chris will do it.
Well,
Chris
Chris
will do
Tennessee.
Yeah, Chris. Just trust me, Chris.
Okay, Chris. I'll call Chris.
Chris can do it. So what do you think of this glossy white 140?
Well, I'm doing the best I can to hold on here without falling off.
All right, brother. Prez, you did great, man. It's totally cool.
Cheers.
We put some effort into this one. This is gonna be a cool. This is the start of Dylan's YouTube channel right here.
He's gonna be moonshining.
Huh?
He's gonna be moonshining stuff back and forth over the border.
This is the start of.
This
This is the start of Dylan's YouTube channel right here. Don't you think that'd be cool to have Dylan's own YouTube channel where he goes and flies around and documents how he learns and gets a private pilot's license and stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah, all the ground school and the whole learning process. Yeah, it'd be cool.
He's gonna make good mistakes, because if he survives them, they're good mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all a learning experience. So, thanks for the help.
You're welcome, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Yes, sir.
Now, the really good thing is that my friends at Aerographics have hooked us up with a complete design package. Remember, if you paint your airplane, base coat, anything, Aerographics in Colorado, my friend James out there has hooked us up. I did this Aero and put this graphics package on it. Right now, it's for sale in Trade Plane if you want a nice Aero 4. This is a great airplane. But James out there has hooked us up, and he's going to design and send us out an application to put on top of Dylan's Cherokee 140. complete with the N number, the striping, and the whole thing. You can call Aerographics. They'll answer their phone. They're excellent on customer service. I've had excellent luck over the years with Aerographics in Colorado, and they're going to hook us up. I'm going to show you step by step how that process goes from ordering it, designing it, approving it, getting it, and laying it out on Dylan's airplane. It's a really easy deal. You can do the same thing here, and I'm totally thrilled to be having that. Today is 23 years since we lost a Jetstream 31. Here's a picture of the crash site right here. It was up in Pennsylvania. Guess what these knuckleheads did? They ran it out of gas. 19 people died. Don't run your airplanes out of gas. I want you to know that when Dylan's out there flying around in his tiny little airplane, he's going to know that he's got to have gas. He can't fly at night. He can't fly in bad weather. And if he has to stop and spend the night on a piece of cement, so be it. You're stopping. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. You're not flying in that. Make better use of your decisions. Carry more fuel, fly daylight, fly better weather, and respect the no-go decision more than the go decision. Be spring-loaded to say, no, that's not good enough. Dylan's going to have to stay alive out there, and he's going to have to make better decisions on where he goes with his tiny little itty-bitty fledgling airplane himself. I hope he'll capture some of that stuff for you to see. Let's take a look at a couple other things here. The 172 in LA, here's the final probable cause off this. From me, the NTSB has not released those. This was a private pilot without an instrument rating, flew into bad weather. He flew it into the hillside. Not much more to say on this. That's the one from California, late April. I think it was the 29th of April, the 172. Only one on board, and he's no longer with us. Let's take a look at stabilized approach. This is the one I really want you to know about. This Honda jet up in the Carolinas someplace made an unstabilized approach, high, fast, landed long on a 5,000-foot runway that was wet. Went off the end, and here's the interesting statistic on Honda jets. Out of the last 25 incidents since 2015, 20 of them are runway excursions. Think about that. Of the last 25 incidents, 20 of them are runway excursions. This is a very slippery airplane, hard to get stopped. Be very careful, make better use of your decisioning on this thing. Don't go into places like this. A 5,000-foot runway that's wet is basically icy, even though it's wet. Let's take a look at a couple other ones here. Here's some carburetor heat problems here. Even flying around summertime, you can still get carburetor heat. Here's an N number I want you to see here. This is November 180 Lima Romeo. This is a Cherokee that landed short of the runway. They almost made it, but here's where they had their engine failure right here. They almost made it, but they did not. They're going to be okay. And here's another one, 3058 Echo, landed in a river, tried to make it to where they were going, but did not make it and landed in a river. Both of those, I suspect, are carburetor ice. So that's where we ended up at. The fatals for the month here. Here's the graphic for it. There's the first 6, and then here's the next 5. Let's get into this last 5 fatals in the last 7 days. The first one we don't know very much about. This is November 40506. It's an R22 in Texas. I got no idea who it was. Only one on board. Almost no data on this. 6:40 in the morning, made a takeoff. We don't have any idea what happened on this one. The next one, 1 p.m. out in Nebraska, Cessna 172. The guy's name is Mark Getson. He's 69 years old. I'm taking a wild guess on either medical or suicide here. I can't tell. I don't have any other intel. It's not really fair to conclude one thing or the other, but it does not appear to be mechanical or weather related. It flew into the ground really hard. I can't see how this thing could have gone in with a human being on board that didn't want it to and make this kind of an impact out there. Very sorry for this loss. Mark was a huge political activist and had been involved in a lot of worthwhile projects his entire life, and very sorry for that loss of life. Let's take a look at the next one. This is November 430 Alpha Bravo. This is the PA-25 Mitch Knoss, age 28. In Florida. This is pretty much inexperienced. I'm going to show you the video of this thing right now. Look at this thing. He had a problem. I'm going to let you listen to the audio on this thing. He had a problem. He went a long time from acknowledging that he had a problem until he released the banner. In banner towing, as soon as you have an engine problem, drop that banner. I don't care where you are. Drop the banner and get the nose down. He held on to an engine problem too long, trying to tow that banner to a safe spot.
Yeah, I might have to drop this banner. I'm not climbing. 0 Alpha Bravo. Roger. What's that, guys?
0 Alpha Bravo. You need to return to Perry?
No, I'm at 400. I got to drop this over a lake. 1 second.
I'm going to drop it over a lake, and if you're declaring emergency, advise 0 Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, I'm gonna be over these oil tanks with there's like a lake next to it. 1 sec.
Roger. 430 Alpha Bravo, are you okay? 430 Alpha Bravo, loaded up.
As soon as he dropped that banner, look at this airplane pitch up, roll right, and then roll left, and he hit vertical into a fireball. An excellent guy. He was a vet, very well-respected community member, and we're very sorry for this loss. He had a lot of family and friends, and condolences have been outpouring in that young man's life, and rightfully so. A tragic loss. Trying to build time. He did have quite a bit of credentials. I'm not sure about his total time, but he was airplane single and multi-engine land and sea, so he had all 4 categories covered, which means he had put some effort into flight training in his career, which is commendable. Probably a very, very early beginning fledgling job on this Manitou thing. I think they said he had about 13 hours working for this company so far when that accident happened. Here's the next one. This is number 522 Mike Delta. This is a King Air 90 in Arkansas. Johnny Morgan, age 76. Political person of some kind. I think he was a former state senator from the state of Mississippi. He flew it into the hills just south of Fayetteville, Arkansas. The weather was not a factor, and his ADS-B data shows he was assigned 4,000 feet. He busted 4,000 feet. He also busted the localizer, went through it, tried to correct, tried to pull up. It doesn't look like at the time he was doing all that maneuvering, he should have been in the clear, should have been able to see the terrain. I don't know why he flew it in other than medical, stroke. This individual has had a tremendous amount of medical problems in recent past. He had a double knee replacement. He's also been fighting cancer. He's been on chemo, and I'm not sure if his cancer state, but they say that he has been in a very much reduced capacity in the last several years, a continual decline. I'm not sure what the final analysis will be on this thing. We may never know, but the King Air is a very capable airplane. At this point, I'm not buying an engine failure. It doesn't matter on that airplane, even if it did have an engine failure. The King Air 90 is super easy. You don't even need 2 engines. You could easily make it the rest of the way in on one from that position without even putting any effort into it. So an engine failure mechanical is highly, highly unlikely here. This thing flew into the trees and it hit hard, and we're really sorry for that loss. A fantastic individual, well-loved in his community, and our deepest respects and condolences to that entire Mississippi family. The last one is this Twin Otter that took off from California. This is just yesterday. This thing took off very heavyweight, loaded with excessive amounts of fuel in order to make it to Hawaii nonstop. 2 people on board. They had some kind of a problem. They turned around and tried to make it back towards Half Moon Bay. Did not make it. It was obvious right away from the reports. There are no survivors on this. We'll know better later on, maybe if they can recover the airplane, but they did declare an emergency. A mayday of some kind was transmitted. They did get the airplane turned around, and they did get pointed back towards the coast, but they did not survive the ocean ditching. I'm not really sure why. The Twin Otter should have been able to ditch at slow enough speed there to survive that. They should have had survival gear. They should have been able to get out of that thing. So it's a big mystery. Let me talk about schedule real quick before we go, and then we're going to get out of here for tonight. I'm sorry that this video has been kind of a little bit on the long side, but let's talk about schedule. Remember, June 3 is coming up. That's our June 2 is the Air Coop Convention in Arkansas. Here's the graphic for it. Then June 3 and 4, I'll be at Vintage Days in Williamson, Georgia. Then the big one, June 9, 10, 11 is my birthday out in Vegas, just south of Vegas. If you want to stay with, we're staying in Primm, Nevada. There's a place out there called Buffalo Bills. That's our hotel. And then Saturday morning, if you want to go with us on this hike, we're hiking to the crash site where Clark Gable's wife died. Her name was Carol Lombard. It was a DC-3 back in the early 40s that smashed into this cliff. We're going to take a full day and hike down to that crash site. Most of the crash remains are still down there. And then Saturday night, we'll be at the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs, Nevada. You don't have to go with us on the hike if you don't want to, but if you do want to, you got to meet us at the saloon, Pioneer Saloon, no later than 10 a.m. because we're going to be starting off from right there on this journey to go find this crash site. So if you want in on our group, that's where we're going to be. And then we'll be back at that location for dinner and having fun that Saturday night. Stay with us down in Primm, Nevada at Buffalo Bills. That's the hotel we're staying at. Love to see you. Love to have you. It's all free. There's no registration, no RSVP or anything like that. Just come on out. If you want to go, you got to have good hiking capability, good shoes. You got to have water. You got to have hat. You got to have some gear. It's hot out there, and it's a long ways to go, and it's not an easy hike to get down to this thing. We're going to get down to it and back all on the same day, so be physically fit and ready to go on that. Then after that, June 14 out in Oregon, it's EAA 902. Looking forward to speaking out there in an EAA chapter. Should be a lot of fun in the state of Oregon, just out near Portland. Should be a lot of fun. Got to go. We're going to get this video up on there. Make sure you jump over on Dylan's channel, which is Pilot Project Dylan Grider, and watch for his stuff. I think he's got his very first video up and on the air right now, and that's going to be a fascinating project. I got to keep him alive while he's out there flying. You can watch and follow along his project as I build pilot material out of Dylan. For my tiny little itty bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Grider, probable cause.